مع سورة السورة. بلش على ساعة 2. صونا ونكتب ذا. طيب. بدأ. تفضل.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. All praises be to Allah. We seek refuge with Allah from the evils of our own actions. Whomsoever Allah guides will never be led astray, and whomsoever Allah leads astray can never be guided. And I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, having no partner, and that Muhammad is his final messenger. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Eid Mubarak to all my brothers. Alhamdulillah, this is a beautiful day. We just got through 30 days of Ramadan. This is our first ever quarantine Ramadan with coronavirus. Alhamdulillah, it was such a beautiful blessing seeing everyone again. Last year was so difficult for us. Making straight in our own homes, to having this year where we get to see everybody again. We feel the barakah again. We feel the blessings again. Very productive and very beautiful. And as we reach Eid, we start seeing the normality of things. Eid Salah, everyone gathers once again. We see our beloved loved ones. We have our dinners after, our lunches, so on and so forth. But what follows Eid is that now that the Ramadan is over, our test still continues. Shaitan is back now, and the dunya begins to overpress us. It begins to shroud us again, because now our bellies are full, our minds are clear. We go back to our regular sleeping schedule. We don't sleep at 4 a.m. anymore. And slowly but surely, a lot of us begin to lose that nur that comes from Ramadan. Those habits that we worked so hard to attain slowly begin to fade away. that iman boost that we had, that feeling in our heart, that patience that we had, slowly begins to fade. We go from being able to hold ourselves from sunrise to sunset of not cursing, not being angry, not smoking, not eating, holding ourselves from all our temptations and our desires, to brother, I can't help myself. What am I supposed to do? I'm human. And it's crazy how we can prove ourselves to that during Ramadan, but then after Ramadan, all of a sudden it becomes an absurd thing again. It becomes an extremist thing. It becomes this thing that seems almost unrealistic. You expect me to do this, this, and this? Right now, it doesn't faze us right now because it's only the first day. But give it time. Give it time and you'll find yourself, inshallah we don't, but some of us, we found ourselves, better yet to say, that it's as if Ramadan never happened, that Ramadan was light years away. During January, a lot of us didn't even think about Ramadan. And it was 6 months before January, that was our last Ramadan. And yet it becomes this absurd thing. And you can tell when shaitan is winning the battle by where your heart stands with that. See, shaitan comes and he knows you better than yourself. Shaitan knows you. You have to remember, shaitan's been with you your entire life. He knows what gets to you. He knows what will make you slip. And he's waiting for, he has all the time in the world. You and I, we're busy. We got work. We have family. We have so much going on in our lives that we can't think about our own selves. We can't think about our iman all the time. But shaitan doesn't. All he thinks about day in and day out is how to get you. And now that he's back, he knows your cycle. He knows when you slip. And his goal is to make you slip this year the same way we slipped last year. The iman boost is high right now. It's Eid. The week after Eid, we might still be reading the Quran. You know, we still have our decorations up. But what happens after a month? 2 months, when the decorations are down, and when Salat al-Isha starts becoming less and less packed? Over the last few weeks, some of us struggled. We had to park 5 blocks down, and we were willing to. We were willing to get out of our comfort while we were full, while we were tired, while we were lazy. We were willing to do this and park 5 blocks down and make the walk to the Musalla. But then all of a sudden it becomes, it's 9 o'clock. It's kind of late, you know. I'm already tired right now. I got things to do in the morning. But as I mentioned previously, when will you ever be more tired than you will after not eating a whole day and then stuffing yourself? Or having family around you, the temptation of like wanting to stay with everyone. Or having these headaches, or having work the next day after sleeping late. Ramadan puts you in a situation where it proves to you on every scale that you can do it, that if there is a will, there is a way, that it's not impossible. Ramadan has exposed us all. It's exposed us that curse all the time. It says we can't help ourselves, and yet we held ourselves for 9-10 hours. It exposed the ones who have this addiction to smoking, and I understand it's hard, but you prove to yourself for 9-10 hours. For those who constantly keep getting angry, we tell ourselves it's not my fault, but yet you held yourself, or at least you were able to try your best, rather than now at the slightest inconvenience, you snap. What I want to talk to us about today is a realistic way to hold that iman as best as possible. It will never be as high as it is in Ramadan. That's a fact. We know that. As much as we wanted to, Allah blesses Ramadan in a way that we cannot imagine. And so we will never hold those fruits, but we can hold the habits. At least we can hold them as best as possible, because as I mentioned in my previous khutbah, that Allah does not judge you based on your results. He judges you based on your actions. So even if you do slip, Sometimes it's the fight you put up before the slip that Allah loves. And what shaitan hates. That's how shaitan balances you. He finds you by your strength. And honestly, if he's come back, and we are the same people we are falling from the same habits as when he left, I don't know what goes on in his mind, but I imagine when I think of myself, when shaitan comes back to me, as him laughing at me. I imagine him looking at me as a joke. That, what were you doing all those 30 nights? And that's a question I'm trying to ask myself. What have I been doing for 30 nights straight? Why have I been wasting my time, quote unquote? Why did I get up and go to the masjid? Why did I hold myself from eating? I could have eaten and had a good day of work. I didn't need the headache. There's a person that pissed me off on the way here. I could have cursed him out. But instead I let him go and make myself look weak. Why did I go through all that? What was the point? What was the point if the day after Ramadan I begin to slip again? Better yet, I go back to who I was. Rasulullah said, anybody who leaves Ramadan and is not forgiven for all his sins, he is a loser. So now I ask myself all the time, am I amongst those losers? Am I amongst those who did not benefit at all? These 30 nights came and I did not reap a single thing from it. Yes, I stood and I prayed, but why did I pray? Was I conscious of what I was doing? A lot of us, sometimes when we have our doubts in Islam, it's because we begin to think, right? We begin to use our logic. And things start becoming unrealistic. But the truth is, well, first off, if you want to go into that conversation, that can easily disprove, but that's not the point of the conversation. If you want to think about things like that, why don't you ask yourself, or why don't we ask ourselves, why it is we do these things in the first place? We're so good at critical thinking when it comes to politics, when it comes to the actions of people, that all of a sudden we can read what someone does because we know them, but yet we don't think about our own actions, the thing we've been doing for 30 nights straight. And so what I want to do is I want to tell a quick story. And hopefully, inshallah, after the story, I want to tell a strategy that I learned from a sheikh. And wallahi, I thought the strategy was so profound. I thought it was ingenious. It's so simple. It's so simple, but wallahi, it's ingenious. There once was a boy, and he went up to his father, and he asked his father, what's the secret to happiness? How do I become happy? His father said, I don't know, but if you go on top of the hill, there is a man who owns a castle. Go to that man, and he will tell you the secret to happiness. So the boy goes. He finds the man, and he asks him the same question. The man says, I will tell you the answer, but first, I need you to do me a favor. All right? I want you to hold this spoon. And in the spoon, he filled it with a little oil. And he says, I want you to hold on to the spoon, and I want you to make sure that not a drop falls out of the spoon. And in the meantime, enjoy yourself. There's a party going on, enjoy yourself. So the boy goes, and what do you think he was doing the entire time? Just straight looking at the spoon. He was making sure that not a drop of it fell out. So he comes back to the man. The man says, do you have the spoon? He says, yes, I do. It's right here. He says, okay, what did you think of my house? He said, honestly, I didn't look at your house. He said, that's fine. It's okay. I know you got busy, but did you at least talk to my friends? He said, no, I didn't talk to any of your friends. He said, okay, that's fine. Did you try some of my food? He says, no, I didn't get a chance to try any of your food. The man says, go back, do it again, and make sure you enjoy all these things. So the boy goes back, he looks at the scenery, he tries the food, and he meets the friends, and he goes back to the man. And he tells them, and the man says, did you see my house? He said, it's beautiful. I love the views, everything's amazing. He said, did you see me, my friends? He said, yes, I did, they're amazing people. And he said, did you try my food? He said, I've never tried anything better. The man said, alhamdulillah, I'm so glad you're happy. Where's the spoon? So he looks, and the spoon is gone, there's no oil in it. Well, the spoon is in his hand, but there's no oil in it. And the man told him, if you want to live a real life of happiness, you must find balance in everything that you do. The things you must focus on and the things you prioritize versus the things your heart naturally wants. And so I know during Ramadan, that our heart naturally inclines to go back to dunya. It's impossible. It's impossible to constantly live the way you did during Ramadan 365 days of the rest of your life. But it's not impossible to hold yourself accountable to having a balance. The balance doesn't mean coming every night. The balance just means that you try. The balance means that when you curse, when you find yourself slipping and you curse, that you are attentive of it. That you don't make up the excuse that it's impossible. Because as soon as you flip your mind to that, Shaitan has already won the battle. Our goal every day, day in and day out, is to prove not only to ourselves, but we are trying to prove to Allah, because He is the judge. When you go to a class, you sit in the front row and you write all these notes. You do all these things because you want to prove to the teacher that even if you fail the test, you tried. And you want to prove to all the ones who wanted to see you fail that you did your best. You want to prove to the Shaitan that this year you can't get to me. That even if I fall, I'm falling backwards. I'm falling on my back. So that way I can see and I can get up. And then the next half, I want to share with you the strategy that inshallah has helped so many, inshallah help you and I. أقول لك هذا استغفر الله وأتوب إليه. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Once we start falling again, and once we start going back to our sins, the cycle that happens is you fall, and then from that, a piece of you is the wall, the base of it is a little bit breaks, and it cracks and it cracks and it cracks until all of a sudden you start telling yourself, what's the point? You know, like all of a sudden you start, your cursing becomes so fluent. You know, that bad deed that you've been working on for so long, all of a sudden it becomes like water. It just flows through you naturally. And you go back to the excuses, I can't help myself. I've tried everything and I just cannot help myself. Well, the truth is, you can't help yourself. There's one time there's one time a man who went up to a sheikh and he asked the sheikh, no matter what I do, I can't get up for Fajr. I've done everything I can. I sleep early, I do this, I do that, but I can't get up. No matter what it is I try to do. So the sheikh says, do this, all right? The next time you go to bed, have in your heart this intention, that if I do not wake up for Fajr, I'm going to pray 100 rak'at. And so you know what happened? The shaitan forced him up. For the first time, the man woke up for Fajr, and the shaitan forced him up for it. Why? Because the shaitan would rather see this man pray 2 rak'at than pray 100. The habit, the strategy that the sheikh taught the man is that you're going to do bad deeds. You're going to slip. We're human. That's part of our nature. You're not a bad person for doing this bad deed. You're not a bad person for constantly not thinking of salah or not thinking of iman, or when you see the Quran, you walk away from it and don't think about reading. You're not a bad person. You're a human. It's our test. Is it the best thing? No. But realistically, it happens. But what you can control is the action you do afterwards. See, Shaitan knows the ways to make you slip, right? So he plans A, B, C because he knows D will happen. Well, the strategy is add E. Add one extra action that if all this happens, you're going to do this. And that one action is just to pray 2 rak'at. Don't pray the 100 that the Shaykh was saying, but pray the 2. And so a cycle goes like this. Shaitan will tempt you to do the bad deed. You'll fight back, he'll play within your head, so on and so forth. Time goes by, you slip. But after you slip, you commit to yourself that you're going to pray the 2 rak'at. And once you pray 2 rak'at, you stay consistent with it. You slip the next day, you pray 2 rak'at. You slip the 3rd day, you do 2 rak'at. And you know what's going to happen by the 4th, 5th day? The 10th, 11th, 12th, 15th time? Shaitan's going to start understanding that every single time I make this man do this sin, he follows it up with this good deed. And this good deed, Allah forgives him for, and is greater than this bad deed. So I do not want him to do it at all. I don't want him to reap a reward, so I will not make him do that bad deed. Let me go a different angle. For those who do not believe me, try it out yourself. Think of the one thing that you keep slipping for. And tell yourself that the next time you do that thing, the next time you do that bad deed, commit to yourself. I know for some of you it hurts. As soon as I said that, in our head it's like, that was the strategy. I thought it was something easier. But the truth is, you came and you prayed all night long. We stood all a night long, praying 8 rak'at, much longer ayat. Pray 2 simple rak'at. And have it in your attention, I'm doing this so that Allah can forgive me. You pray 2 rak'at, you raise your hands, say, Allah forgive me. And do this every single time. The longer you've been doing this sin, the more ingrained it is in your heart, the longer it will take to break out of it. But wallahi, you can break out of it. Wallahi, there have been men who've done worse things than you and I, who've had deeper struggles than you and I, and they've broken out of it. Because the strategy is simple. Shaitan wants you to fail, and he will make you slip. But if you counter every single slip with a good deed, he will try to make you slip in a different way. Rasulullah ﷺ is our role model. He is the man that we look up to and that we try to become, and we want every single ounce of him. And Shaitan is our enemy. He is the polar opposite of what we are trying to be. And on that day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, Rasulullah ﷺ will be the only one who will be screaming, Ummati, Ummati, Ummati. He will be standing. He'll have a chair, but he'll be standing, begging Allah to forgive you and I. And there will be a part of this ummah who does not make it. Not yet. And that's because they'll be standing and blaming Shaitan, and Shaitan will tell them, I didn't force you to do anything. I merely was whispering to you, you made the actions on your own. It's not Shaitan's fault, guys. He may try to convince you to do it, but it's never his fault. The action's on us. And once we start holding ourselves accountable, once we start realizing that no one can help me besides me, but Allah will not change the condition of the people until they change what is in themselves, and now is the time. While our iman is strong, while we're still coming to the masajid, now is the time to consciously be aware and consciously tell ourselves that not this year. This year I'm going to be a better man. And even if I slip, I'm not going to slip the same way. And I ask that Allah forgives us all for the sins that we've done. Ya Allah, please forgive us for the sins that we've done. Ya Allah, please grant us strength. Ya Allah, please grant us strength in our struggles. Ya Allah, please help our brothers all across the world. Ya Allah, please help our brothers in Afghanistan. Please help our brothers in India. Please help our brothers in Palestine. Please help our brothers in Iraq and Syria and all over the world. Ya Allah. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. So
Allahu Akbar. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.